episode of Conscious Being, Conscious Living podcast or show right here, The Exploration, with your host, Eva Pandit. And today we are going to explore a topic that I actually wrote something about somewhere, which I can't find it, but we'll go ahead. The space of you. It is super good. This one's going to be a total riff because I literally have zero notes. I think I wrote a sentence somewhere which I cannot find anymore, but that's okay too. But I have this strong sense of what I want to talk about here, and let's see where we take this conversation. The space of you. Now, I'm doing this challenge in the free Facebook group that I launched called Cultivating Trust in You. The group is called Cultivating Trust in You. The challenge is called 5 Elements of Intimacy with You. And the 5 elements are honor, trust, allowance, vulnerability, and gratitude. And we're exploring what it is like to have those 5 elements of intimacy with you. So if you're curious and would like to join, I will share the link in the comments right after I stop. But today I wanted to explore this topic, the space of you, because I think I let it stick to me for so long. All those years in my life, which actually ended very, very recently, where I was trying to fit in, where I was trying to do it right, I was negating that which I valued the most, which was the space. And the thing is, this whole thing about the space of being, it's such a concept in our world, in a way that when you look at the space of being, what shows up for you? What is it like to have the space of you? Is it something that you can even define or confine? Or is it something else? And so just because it cannot be defined and confined, have you separated from that? So everything that is, and all of the ways in which you might have separated from the space that you be, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pop, pop, shorts, boys and beyond. This funny thing I just said is the clearing statement from Access Consciousness. If you want to read more about it, go to theclearingstatement.com, where Dr. Dane here does an amazing job of explaining it. There's also a set of welcome series in my Facebook group where you can come in and get a sense of what all of this is. But the space of being actually showed up for me very dynamically a couple weeks ago when I was actually doing a marketing exercise. I was writing down some questions, exploring something, and what that exploration got me to was a realization that that which I truly value is presence and being and creating and flow and natural rhythm. And I realized that somewhere in my world I had judged and concluded that it's not a valuable thing. And in our modern day times, the modern values that are so kind of like in right now and dominant in our world, and it kind of actually started from the Industrial Revolution. I've spoken about it in one of the previous shows. But our modern day values are hard work, hustle, consistency, and just push yourself through it and all of that. But if you look at nature, nothing in nature is that. There is so much space in nature, and it's creating on an ongoing basis. Nothing ever stops. It's always moving, always creating, always being. There's intensity in nature. So it's not that when you're being space, you're like in the Himalayas meditating like a monk. That's one way to do it. And what else is possible? What are the different ways in which we can invite space in our life? And in order to even look at that, I think the first thing to look at, do you even value space? And also what's important to look at is how much of that which you're asking for in your life, how much of what you've been looking at changing, how much of what you've been seeking is actually a space. So if you're seeking to be greater than you are, what space is that? If you're seeking to have financial abundance in your life, what is that space of being? Because we tend to make more real the solidity and that which is dense and that which can be measured or quantified. For example, if you look at even the cellular structure of a molecule, there is space, like there is this structure, like a shape, loose shape of the molecule, then there is the space, and then there's a nucleus. And nucleus is the only thing that's dense enough to be seen by our visible eyes, because everything else is energy and space and moving and consciousness. And my God, and how much, if you look at it in terms of percentage of what is actually space, but what we see is that 1%. So if we were willing to move beyond our definitions and conclusions of anything and everything, then what else is possible and what else is available? Like, how much of what you're asking for, which you may not yet have, and chances are that you're asking for it in your life is because you don't yet have it, is a possibility that exists where? In the space. And what would it be like to, instead of live from a place of hustle and hard work and like force and creation from a place of force and routine and all of that? And if it works for you, in no way do I mean that don't do it. If it works for you, please do more of it. But this is more in the context of all the places in which you have set these standards for yourself, that then if you cannot meet those standards, you have a beautiful reason to judge yourself against. And everywhere you've been using that judgment as a source of creation rather than the space of you. Would you be willing to destroy an uncreated place? Right, wrong, good, bad, online, pod, fog, shirts, toys, and neons. I wasn't expecting on using so much of a clearing statement on this one, but, well, what do I know? So I started looking into this exploration for myself, and I started looking at that even though on the surface it looked like I'm doing the same thing, but the energy underneath completely changes when I'm more in communion with what I'd like to create, the space of being that is me. When I stop buying into everything else that exists in the world and all of the points of views and projections and definitions and conclusions that this is how it is done. When you stop buying into that, then what else is possible? What else is available for you? What space of being are you? What space of being are you? And when did you give up on that? In how many ways did you give up on that? How many things did you have to buy as real and true? How many lies, how many myths, how many stereotypes did you have to buy into in order to give up you? And so everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, online, pop, shorts, boys and neons. In my business, like for example, I'll just use myself as a guinea pig right here. In my business, for example, up until last year sometime, I was working in the field of self-confidence. I still am doing that, but it's so different because now I have a different way of looking at it, and I'm like, it's really not about self-confidence because that's energy that comes from outside of you, but it's more about cultivating trust in you because you are not lacking anything. What if you're not lacking anything? Then what is the space that you have access to, and what's right about that space that you've been making yourself wrong and trying to fit into all of these molds and all of these structures and systems and step-by-steps and formulas that exist in the world that don't really work for you in the same way in this moment of time, but then you use that as a reason to judge yourself. And so everything that is, everywhere you've encaptivated yourself, everywhere you've limited yourself from the space you be to this definition of standards that you've put out in front of you. And then you don't meet them, and then you judge yourself for it. And this is a beautiful vicious circle because it keeps you stuck and looping. So everything, all of that is, will you please destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pop, pop, shorts, boys and beyonds. Once again, this is the clearing statement from Access Consciousness. You can know more about it on theclearingstatement.com, or if you join my group, Cultivating Trust in You, then there's also a welcome series that walks you through some of these tools that you can then learn and see how it works for you. So anyway, I have made a different choice in my life, and I am on an exploration, and I kind of like it started with this show and all of the things that have been changing, on an exploration to find out what is the space of being that's me, and what is right about that. What if I don't have to fit in, and all of those things I just cannot, at least in this moment, like for example, be consistent in the way that they define consistency in the world. What if I destroyed and uncreated all that and started finding what's my natural rhythm? Because I cannot, am I really that fucked up? Am I really that wrong in the way that I am, that, nothing's right about me and then I have to learn to be something else? Or is there something else available for me? Is there something right about how I be, something right about this space of possibilities that I perceive, and what is going to be my way to be with that and create with that? So this little mini short version of our show this week is literally just an invitation for you to explore what is it like to have the space of you, and all the ways in which you're limiting yourself with all the definitions and conclusions and all the I should be and all the shoulds and, whatever you've bought into that are limiting that space. Would you be willing to even perceive that if it's not light for you, chances are it's not true for you? And so then what is true for you? I think life is an adventure of living this exploration of what's available for me, because all of us are unique and all of us are different and all of us have our own unique quirks. And so what if none of that is wrong? What if it's just the difference you be, and how can you have more of that? And is that what you're looking for? Is that what you're even asking for? More of you in your life. And so if that's what's true for you, and if you haven't already and would like to join the 5 Elements of Intimacy challenge, it's a free challenge. I'm just having this really beautiful conversations with a group of people who are playing along. And if you'd like to join in too, I'll share the links in the comments here. And I just invite you to, and leave you with actually this one question. What space of kindness can you be for you today? Just be with that. Wonder. Don't try to look for an answer. Wonder, what space of kindness can you be for you? And I'll see you again on another exploration, another topic next week. Same place, similar-ish time. Bye.